Okay, namaste, great souls. It's wonderful to be back and teaching again via the Zoom module. So we are working on the sixth chakra, which is so many things, but the culmination of a meditation of bringing the energy up through the five main ones to the sixth chakra. The negative pole is at the back of between the two hollows at the medulla oblongata. That's more of our ego self, our desires, getting, all in the material world, which we need to do, but we also want to go up and not just get stuck in our personal self. And go into insight, strengthening our insight, intuition, our connection to the divine, to whatever that is for you in form of a deity or archetypes or universal love, something that's encompassing ourselves and is greater than ourselves. That is where the freedom is. And the shadow of the sixth chakra is just not seeing beyond our own immediate problems and our own opinions. So there's a lot of things that can manifest around the eyes, headaches, ear issues in this upper chakra. I won't get into the physical issues, but just know that spiritually, we are truly into what's called, of course, the union, which is yoga, the individual self, which we like to remind ourselves again and again is going in connection and held by the universal self, the divine self. So the word, the Sanskrit word, I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, I've heard it pronounced several ways, Agya and Anja, sixth chakra. I'm going to be saying Agya. That's what I've been trained in. It develops, of course, throughout our lifetime, but especially in puberty when we're really forming this individual self and individuating from our parents somewhat and informing our individual self at the back here. But we want it, of course, to be informed with our higher self. So throughout our lifetime, and a lot of discernment happens. What we want to do, we're going to get started here soon, is so much of our eyes we're seeing in duality, what we're taking in. Of course, we need to take that in, but we don't want to get stuck in that duality. We want to, there's a saying, we want the two eyes to become one, the one behind the two. So we'll start with breath work, some heating up the hands, placing them over the eyes, and then gently, not harsh at all, with your little finger expanding the eyes, the closed eyelids out to the side, so we get that wider vision, but then ultimately gently focusing here. And remember, that's out in front of us. It's not just knitting the eyes to this third chakra or sixth chakra point, the third eye. It's called a lot of things, and out in front and above the horizon line. Okay, horizon line or above. Okay, that was a very, very, very quick overview, but this is the goal of yoga, is to attune to this sixth chakra and seven upper chakras more and more and more and more, our individual self uniting. And our quality of life, the yogis say, depends on that. So I will back it up a bit. And we're going to rub our hands together to generate some heat, or do the best you can there. When you're ready, placing the hands over the eyes, lengthening up through the crown, tailbone down, feeling that warmth. And then from that warmth, expand gently the little fingers over the eyelids to the outer corners of the eyes, soften the shoulders. Place the index finger at the spiritual eye, at the sixth chakra, And then the other hand at the ego at the base of the neck. And remember, we're drawing this energetic line as we breathe in from the central channel through the center of the head and then out to that point in front of you. So bring your thumb out and up. And just take several breaths here, full yogic breaths, inhaling, drawing the energy up, shooting it through to the spiritual eye and out in front of you. And then receiving that light, the quality of the Agya chakra, sixth chakra, is light. So as you're breathing, you could meditate on a candle on the horizon or higher, or any type of light. As you interiorize more and more and breathe in, and the practice, you may feel, you may see light, you may, and this is a universal, not particular any tradition of allowing that light to come in and permeate all the cells of your body. As you breathe in and breathe out, you may want to have that intention to open yourself to the light of consciousness that's whole and free, the one behind the two. Okay. And I'm going to go back to the mat here, but I just wanted to give you a visual. And this is the spiritual eye. There's a gold ring and then a blue field inside that gold ring, and then a 5-pointed star. This is from the Kriya Yoga tradition that I'm fairly steeped in, but it's a universal experience for people. They may not see it as defined as this, but you may see the light there, or gold or blue or white. So it's very much a universal symbol of where we're going in this experience. And the colors blue for this chakra, and gold, and that there's many things you'll see of lights and stars and spiritual traditions of all kinds of faiths. So we're going to start moving the body around. Yay, body. What we can do, respecting its limitations there for protection, no harm, ahimsa. And we're going to have our mats and all our props by our side. Okay. Now, bringing the knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders or slightly in front. Just one regular cat-cow, and then we'll add on. Scooping out the low, mid, upper back. Inhale, eye gaze up, inner elbows forward. And then exhale, rounded spine. Drawing in. Now, neutral spine. We do this one, I cue this fairly often, but we're going to add to it if this speaks to you. Bring the right knee in slightly. The left leg out, the right arm extended. So we lift out, but the difference will be, first we're going to exhale and draw the elbow, right elbow toward the left knee. It can or cannot touch. You can either stay here or make it more fluid and sweep up, eye gaze up. So the eye goes upward to that spiritual eye, and then folding in. We'll do 3 of these. Either the regular extension out in front, but notice what happens when the eye gaze looks up and the hand and the leg reach up, the arm and the leg. Do that again. Extending out and upward. Remembering to lift that gaze upward. Beautiful. Let the right hand come down, left toes turn under, press into that back hamstring. Let's do a full body stretch before we go to the other side, downward facing dog. So go ahead and hover, activate core, and then stretch it out. Treading the heels, magnetizing the heart toward the thighs, pressing into the base of the fingers. Feel that blood flow to the brain. So it's an active pose, the down dog, but we want to tune into the calmness and the spiritual eye. Relaxed and aware. Where we're looking, but we're not judging what we're seeing. We're just opening wide. Witness observing. Okay. And then the knees touch down. Great. And we're going to bring so we did the right and the left. We're going to bring the left knee in, the right leg out, the left arm out, extending and folding. And then the extension out. Notice the difference if we go up with our gaze and with our arm and leg. 3 to 4 times here. Opposites at your pace. Upward gaze. Visualization can be a big part of the 6th chakra. So you don't see the light right away in meditation. You can visualize that light. Let the toes turn under. I learned at the workshop that some people, there's a fancy name for it, aren't able to see things as clearly, so they have to. It sounds like the same thing, visualizing, but they were saying that they have to kind of almost create that visualization because they don't get the image within. All right, just add that or delete it. Okay, go to down dog. Full body stretch. Let's get the hips going here, side to side. Half circles. Maybe you want to ripple, bending the knees, rippling through the spine, bending the elbows a bit, and then straightening them. But also focus on that calmness, even though it's a very active pose. Everything's active. Look at our heart and our spiritual eye be calm. We just take in what we're witnessing. Of course, there's times for action, but now there's a time for reflection. And then stepping one foot forward, then the other, one hand, then the other, walking into our forward fold. We can rest the palms at the hollows at the elbows, slight bend of the knees if that's better for you. Relaxing any unnecessary mental burdens. And let's go ahead and massage right at the back of the medulla oblongata there, the base of the neck. Just softening that ego hold. There's so much survival root chakra stuff attached to the ego. And we want to just open it up so it's not the dominant controller. And then bringing the hands to the spiritual eye and massaging there, opening up. Intuition, insight, wisdom, self. And now bend the knees. Reach back. See if you can interlock. This may be too much. If it's too much, keep the arms reaching back. But lift the heart. Again, we're lifting up. Our eye gaze is up. And then we're arcing back. And then we're bringing our hands into Eagle Heart Mudra. Rooting down in mountain pose, but lengthening through the crown. We were seated when we did this last time. This time we're standing with one hand at the back of the, between the two hollows there in the center. And then the two become one at the spiritual eye. Reaching your arm out in front of you. Practice as much as you can the breath drawing up and then extending out. And then let that light, we could, right now in Northern California, there's light mix the clouds. We're letting that light come in. We're practicing more and more, tuning into the sixth chakra, universal love and wisdom and insight. Okay, let's continue with our flow. So we bring our hands to the heart, we bring others into our practice. Visualize those you'd like to bring, send healing energy to. Tapping at the spiritual eye with the knuckles, when offering prayers of care for their well-being and peace and harmony to them, whatever they're going through. And then lengthening up, I'm going to come to the front here, arcing back, but not jamming into your low back. Lift up and gaze up. And then as we exhale, we're hinging forward. Now keep elongating the spine. And you can also use blocks here to bring the floor closer to you, or you can have the hands on the floor. But what we're doing here is keeping the spine fairly elongated, bending your right knee, and we're twisting. Okay, so we're going to twist to the left. Twisting, stacking the shoulders, and that twisting, standing twist going to start out to warm up, and then back to center. Left knee naturally bends from the core, rotated twist. Good mudra, thumb index finger, that symbolizes everything we're talking about. That universal connection and forming the individual self. It feels right. Come back down. No, you can always use blocks. Forward fold. Shake out any unnecessary worries or tension. Let's step back into plank, strength pose. I'm gonna move my blanket a little bit back. Create that strong line of energy, wide through the shoulders, reaching through the heels, not collapsing the belly or the head. And then let's let the knees touch down and do 3 push-ups, knee, chest, chin push-ups. So you don't have, your chin doesn't have to touch, but in that direction. There's a slight look in front of the mat. So we're strengthening with the pulsing before we come all the way down. The third one, we come all the way down, knee, chest, chin, extending the legs, blocks out, and going into, let's rest at the spiritual eye and breathe. 3 full yogic breaths here. So incredibly be supported by the earth, supported by our wisdom self, our seat of intuition, higher insight. Hear the oceanic sound. And we'll go into Salabhasana series. So arms by our side to start. Recharging the spine. Inhale, lifting the heart, the head, slight gaze upward, not jamming the back of the neck. Lift the legs now. Lift the arms, reaching out. And then let's see what happens when we swim this right arm forward. So we're going to bring, and this is an opposite again, we're going to bring the top of the left foot down and sweep the right arm forward, and then switch. Left arm comes forward, top of right foot comes down. So we're swimming, if that works for you. If this is too much, keep the arms by your side. Opposite arm, opposite leg, rising up to meet whatever opportunities are going to happen today. One more time. Recharging the spine. So we're not using our arm strength to lift up. We're using our back strength. And rest. Take it in, the other hand on top. Large toes touch, heels apart, and breathe. Hear that oceanic sound. Let it guide you. Now, with our classic cobra, Bhujangasana. Feet hip width apart, no wider. Legs strong. Spine starts that surge of energy upward and continues. So at this point, there's hardly any weight in the hands. Okay. And then we press some weight in the hands as we rise up. And then open the throat chakra. Stick out the tongue, eye gaze up. 2 more times. And again. And easing back. Wider knees. We're going to rest in prayer pose. Now lift the wrists off the floor. Fingertips, thumb touches. Again and again. Heart and spiritual eye connected. Opening to the flow of God's divine life within. Okay, let's bring our knees back in again. Do one more scoop out. And then exhale, pour back to our friend, the downward facing dog. Atho Mukta Shavasana. That calmness radiates through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Inner borders of the feet come together. If possible, this may be in your practice or not, if possible, bring that right leg up, right shoulder down, bending the knee, opening the hip a couple times on the right side. And then we're going to look at the space between the hands. It may take a couple times, no problem. The giant step forward into our sweeping Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Once that foot is in the right position, reach the arms back, lift the heart up. So really feel the strength here. Okay. And then the arms, that sweeping action, that eye gaze up action. As we bring the arms down, we're going to affirm, I attune my will to the source of all power. If this works for you to sweep, or we'll do a couple stable and feel the difference. I attune my will to the source of all power. One more sweep. Or stay in that pose we just did with the body upright. The gaze is still upright. Eye gaze is above the horizon line. And then the exhale. I'm going to set my back foot in and draw that right hip back, left hip forward into pyramid pose. So hinging forward, taking your time here. First, the spine's elongated. Then you can have blocks or the fingertips touch. And then we draw the chin in. Open to the flow of grace. That's what we're doing when we attune to the sixth chakra. We're opening to the flow of grace. Then, I don't know about you, but I certainly want to do that as much as possible. And then we bend the knees. And we look forward. And we just sweep our arms up. Okay. Sweep our arms up. And then turn the toes in. And then let the arms come out by our side. Again, if possible, interlocking or hands on the hips. I'll turn this way. Anytime we do the interlock, it really gets worn to the shoulders, the neck, the throat, and then the upper area, upper chakras. Hinging forward. Sucking the chin slightly, or quite a bit, as the hands come down, just like we did earlier with our legs closer together. We're going to add that twist. The right fingertips face the left hand. The twist starts from the core, and then we lift that left arm up, and then we get underneath that scapula by exhaling, turning the left palm in. Right elbow bends, the legs stay the same. And pulse again. Left palm faces out. Right elbow extends, elongate the spine. And then exhale, rotate in. Left palm in, right elbow bends. One more time. Getting that side body. Breathing in. Twisting now with the legs extended. And slowly lower that left hand down. Before we go to the other side, let's stretch out. Walk the arms out. Feel space between each vertebra. Let the ego soften and rest. Let it lay on the couch for a while. Doesn't have to be running the show. Ideally, we want it in the passenger seat, not the driver's seat. Okay. Walking your hands back. Left fingertips face the right hand. The whole torso twists. Take your time here. Palm faces away. Elongate. Head to tail connected. And then the rotation comes from the shoulder as the right palm comes in. The left elbow bends. The upper body relaxes. The legs stay the same. 2 more times. Inhale. Palm faces away. Elongate the spine. And then rotate back in. Letting go of what we can. The overactive ego is so used to being in the driver's seat. It's being encouraged to take the passenger seat and let the higher wisdom, I don't know if I want to use drive us, but expand our movements, inform our movements. There it is. Exhale, heel toe it in. With the toes out, we're coming up into our squat and then reaching up. Before we go to the other side, we'll take a moment in our mountain pose. Yielding into the earth. Like we do, feeling that support, that energy rising up. If it helps to put the one hand at the spiritual eye, the sixth chakra, and out in front, go ahead and do that. And we're going to get just practicing to keep moving the energy in this direction. Know that there's light there. Know that there's wisdom there. We're tuning into a deeper intuition, letting it inform us. Okay. Very good. Come to the front of the mat again, bringing in others we'd like to send healing energy to the planet itself. Spiritual eye, crown, lengthen and grow, and arc it back. Okay, elongate, and then sweep forward. Forward fold, letting go. Inhale, step it back to down dog. Take your time to set up the three-legged dog. So first we go into regular, feel that elongation, all those physical principles, and then draw the inner borders of the feet together. Perhaps the left leg reaches up, left shoulder, armpit down, bending your left knee and circling the knee up to the side, opening the hip if possible. And then looking at the space between the hands, giant step or step, 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 however you can get there. Spinning that back foot 30 degrees, lifting the heart, lifting the gaze upward as we sweep the arms up. And we'll do one like I usually cue, with the elbows bending. I attune my will, that's what we're doing here, to the source of all power. And it's an affirmation for our sixth chakra. And then we sweep. You're looking at a point out in front of you, and then we sweep up. We rise up. I attune my will to the source of all power. Reaching up and sweeping the arms by our side, elongating the spine. All right, one more time. Inhale. I attune my will to the source of all power. And then we straighten. I need to either step that front foot back or the back foot forward. Rotate the left hip back, right hip forward. The legs are engaged quite a bit. Heart lifting from the beginning into our pyramid pose. If you're feeling wobbly, widen the feet apart and hinging forward. Hinging forward. And eventually the spine elongates, and then the hands touch or use the blocks, and then we round. Bowing to the wisdom of the heart. Higher intuition, informing the heart. All kinds of decisions. That's an equation that's going to work best. Our higher intuition, engaging with our heart. Open to the flow of grace. Okay. And then inhale, elongate, lifting the head, looking to the front of the mat. And we're going to come into our wide leg stance again, a little bit differently though, with the arms, toes in, heels apart. See if you can reach your ankles and see if you can draw the crown of the head, navel to the spine, toward the earth. Really active in that core, navel to spine, relaxing any unnecessary burdens. Legs very strong.
upper crown, relaxing and drawing toward the earth. In this particular pose, it's going to shift very quickly. We're going to bring our hands, wrists underneath us, elongate, walk those heels in, toes out. We're going to really come up into our goddess pose. So we're coming up and then rooting down again, just to get the upper body upright. Good. Fingertips face forward, twist. So bent knee, wide leg, angle twist. So many ways to twist. Looking over that left shoulder, seeing the light out there, and the sky between the clouds. Twisting the other way. As we know, that sun is still out underneath the clouds, but it sure feels different when the light comes out. When the light comes out, and that probably is a great metaphor for our own emotional body. There could be lots of clouds and moods coming in there, and then when you have the light, that light of wisdom, break through those moods and clouds, feels so much better. Okay, expanding open into our star pose, and coming back to mountain. Take your time. Building and rising, rooting and rising, it's called. Both qualities are going on. Draw that energy upward to this, beyond that, stuck at the ego center, to the spiritual eye, out in front of you. Receive that light, wisdom prana. Visualize that light. Maybe you see a little glimmer of light, and let that expand into a star. You may not have that, you may not see the 5 points, but you may see some energy radiating out from that light. Visualize a blue field around it, and then the gold around that. All traditions. No one claims it. It's a universal experience. People see it in all kinds of ways. Okay, bringing the hands to the heart. And we are going to keep flowing here. All right, so what I'd like to do next is going to our pigeon series. That's so good for the hips, and our warrior 3 combo. So the warrior 3, I'm going to have you, we'll give ourselves a treat after warrior 3, going into the pigeon. Have the blocks there, so that when we step our right foot back and our arms reach up, now you can use a wall for sure, up, and then I'm going to start with my arms out to the side, and then maybe bring them forward. Looking out in front of you, focusing, concentrating, Virabhadrasana 3, a sail through skies of eternal freedom. Just a little bit here, and then see, I should have brought the blocks a little bit closer. See if you could reach toward the blocks. Now the key here is to draw that right hip down, which is hard to do without the blocks, I will admit, but possible, and lift that right leg up. I soar serenely through skies of inner freedom by focusing at the spiritual eye throughout all the movements of light, by looking at people's spiritual eye without them maybe knowing, but you're tuning in, and you can come back to that awareness if you forget to do that on a moment-to-moment, breath-by-breath situation. Okay, we're probably ready to come down with that right leg, bending the left knee and sliding that right leg back. Ekapada Raja Kapatanasana. I like to make a fist with the hands so I don't jam into the wrists. I like to turn the toes under to come on top of that knee. Should we shake it out? Again, just rinsing the stuckness is a big part of the Hatha yoga, and getting ourselves into the right alignment as we slowly come forward. If you can, you could use a bolster here, or you could stack a block. Just like we did earlier, we're resting at this spiritual eye, releasing ideally our past, future, in this moment, resting in the eternal now, breathing and being. Softening the shoulders, softening to what is. And we know, of course, our brain plans, that's important, but right now we're resting and breathing and being. About 5 breaths. And when you're ready, rising up, hands by our side. Breathing in. And then we're going to come down onto that left cheek more. Before we go the other side, we're going to sweep this right leg around. Go into a side Jani Shashasana. So bringing our right hand inside that right leg. And then our left arm over almost the upper body in that half moon position. Opening the strength and courage. Fill my body cells. Inhale, just a taste of it. The side body stretch, wonderful. It's more of a transition as well as a stretch in itself. So that when, if you can, sweep this leg, the knee's going to bend, the foot either in front of the shin or if possible on the outside of the thigh. Root down through both hip bones, lengthen up. Get rooted, get grounded. And yet another twist as per request. The torso, the belly's twisting first, and then we're hugging that knee in, or we're still hugging the knee, and the elbow could be on the outside or wrapped around that knee, chin parallel. You can place a hand on the heart or somewhere by the heart. As we open the heart, we feel the core strength, we feel that expansion, and I'm just expanding into the trees. And again, it's been so gray around. It's so wonderful when the light comes out. It's not strong, but there's enough blue and light coming through the gray to open the heart. Open the heart no matter what, but to the light, to the 6th chakra. To our seat of intuition, wisdom, higher self. And letting that higher self inform us more and more and more as we rest in it. Maybe the knees could stack. The wider your feet go, the more you're going to feel that in the outer hips. It could be a variation like this, no problem. But let the breath come up. And visualize, or you maybe even see light. Again, there's various meditation practices where you light a candle reflective of that light. Let's feel that light within you and all around you shining. That light shows where freedom lies. Our earthly walls can confine us, but we soar in spirit skies. So this is
This is from one of Kriyananda's chants. People chant this and sing this affirmation of light. So many chants about the light. So the light within you shining shows where freedom lies. We let these earthly walls that confine us soar upward into spirit skies. All right, let's start the other side to balance it out. Of course, Virabhadrasana 3, to make friends with it. All right, so we'll transition a cat, cow, neutral, and down dog. All the animals that yoga loves to emulate in movement and connection. And down dog speaks to you. I'm going into a flow more ripple, gentle ripple water. Step one foot forward, then the other. Come back. Relaxing unnecessary mental burdens. So when we expand, you feel so much bigger, this life force animating this individual self and all selves. And so we really feel that namaste connection. Okay, that's all connected. And then as we connect to our higher self, the beauty is we connect to so many other forms and beings and animals, etc. Okay, as promised, warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. So the right foot plugs down, the left leg lifts up. Make sure I'm on the right leg here. In a moment, somebody give me a thumbs up that I'm doing the right leg. Okay. All right. Okay. That into the ether. Now we're into the ground. And now you can reach forward. And elongate now. Oh yeah, I could feel it when I'm on the other side, when I'm in and totally in it. Draw that left hip down. Elongate and look out. Just kind of now notice the difference when you look down and then slightly out in front, slightly in front of the mat. So that again, that shows how that shift of the gaze seems small but makes a big difference. As I sail serenely through skies of inner freedom. Okay, I think we're good. And we're going to step it down, bending both knees. And we're going to elongate. Get the blocks out of the way. That left leg out. Reaching, so first sit down and then reaching over. And our Jani Shashasana. This is a bent knee, leg extended, but we're adding those half moon arms. There's a lot of ways we could do it. We could go more forward bend. We're doing more side stretch. Opening up to strength and courage. Filling the body cells. All right, you can peel those toes back to really engage the hamstring more. When you're ready, the arm extends in the upper body. And then we fold this left knee in. The left foot could come in front of the right shin or to the outside. Yeah, root down through both hip bones. Lengthen up. From the deep core muscles, we're twisting or hugging the left knee, or we're bringing that elbow on the outside. Left hand like a kickstand behind you, chin parallel. Exhale. Eye gaze.
Oh, I'm seeing some plants. I'm seeing the fire from the other chakra. And life force all around us as well as within us. Open to a bigger experience including our individual self, but not limited to the small self. And then we come back and we interlock and we go into our pigeon. I didn't forget about pigeon, but I did it in a little bit of a different order. So we'll just draw that breath up and to the light, and that light inform us as we draw that left knee now down and the right leg back. Ekapada Raja Kapatanasana, royal pigeon pose. So shimmy shake a bit, get on top of that knee, lift the heart, lift the gaze, and then slowly come forward. Using bolster, blanket, resting at the spiritual eye. We're training, and that's the big one always, but especially today, is to rest as much as possible at our wisdom center. Relaxing, thoughts of past and future, they will come up. So in mindfulness, you just note that. You just say, okay, planning, future, check, back to the breath. Past, check, whatever you want to say about that, back to the breath for this moment. And you could feel perhaps the peace, the beauty of coming back to this moment to moment awareness. We've heard it over and over, and we get to practice again and again. Okay, coming up. Making sure you got pigeons on both sides. Did that right? All right, this time, I know we did the twist already. We'll come into a butterfly. Knees apart, drawing the breath up and out in front to that light, and letting that light within you and all around you shine. Shows where freedom lies. Don't let the earthly walls confine us in that stuck way, because we want to be able, our spirit soars in spirits. It wants to soar serenely. It's meant to expand, not contract. And then coming forward. Bowing to the wisdom of the heart. And the seat of intuition, the wonderful combo for alignment. See if you can soften further. And then lifting the heart, lifting the head. Elongate. Okay, draw the knees in. And we are going to come down vertebra by vertebra. So get yourself do a little core strength, a little bridge work before we go into Shavasana. Lengthen and lift. And round. Let the low back melt down, the mid back, and the upper back. Press through your feet. Open divine life within me and all around me. As we come into our knees to our shoulders to iron out the back first and rock side to side. And we'll do our bridge pose because it's such a wonderful inversion. So feet hip width apart, large toes turn in, plug in the spine to start.
Oh, yeah. If I'm really gonna work my blanket correctly, the best way possible, my head's gonna be on the outside edge of the blanket. Protect the back of the neck a little bit. And you don't have to have a blanket, but it's nice to do so as you lift the hips up. If possible, you're rocking one shoulder, then the other underneath you. Keep magnetizing the thighs toward one another, interlocking if possible. Every thought is a bridge back to my higher self, to that wisdom self. We are aligned for divinity. Yoga is one of many paths to show us how to come back home to that divinity. Every thought can be a bridge back to divinity, to divine grace. And in psychology and in yoga, our thoughts really affect our well-being. A tremendous amount of where our thinking is going to create our feeling, which is going to create our behavior. Let yourself melt down. Our thoughts, every thought could be a bridge back to our true self. Open and just take that in, either the butterfly, if that's okay on your hips, or the inner knees touching if you want more containment in the low back. If you're in low back stuff, this is more protective. We know our thoughts could take us out, but they could bring us back in to integration. And there's certain thoughts and experience we need to process, all that stuff. It's all important. We don't want false narratives going on. We want to update our thinking, our beliefs. All that's included in the sixth chakra. Now we're going to do the core work. So what I'm going to suggest is first bring those knees in and then circle around, opening the hips a few times. And then if your low back wants more support, you could bring your hands underneath your low back, upper cheeks. And what we're going to do is inhale and lift both legs to 90 degrees. Move my hand so it's a little easier. And then I'm going to circle. I'm going to lower my right leg down and then out to the side. And then the left leg. I'm exhaling through the mouth, making sure I don't hit the block. Circle around. Let's try to do 4 of these each side. If this doesn't work for you, any ab core strengthening, that speaks to you. This is a half circle. As we exhale, I think we're on 3. And out. And one more half circle. Is that deep exhalation? Okay. And you release the hands anytime we just even do a little lift off of our tailbone up. That's core activation, right? You can even bend the knees. We're not doing much here, but you're really engaging by lifting off a few times. And then our final pose will be happy baby pose, or any pose you want to do. This is your body. See what you need. You want to extend and then extend or keep with the knees bent. But I do want a bit of rocking here to release the hips and the low back simultaneously. Hips and low back, and neck is releasing side to side. Okay. Let's tune in Is there wisdom self here to feel what would be best for Shavasana for you today? Would that be legs up the wall for the inversion? You get an inversion by putting, I'm pointing to the couch, or you can get an inversion with your feet on the. If you're gonna do an inversion, it's always nice, since I have the blanket here, to put just a little bit of lift. Just a little bit of lift on your low back. And it creates this, what's called the waterfall effect. The legs could be 90, the choices, classic Shavasana, or the blocks at the back of the heart, or the bolster if you're needing more heart opening. Okay, so I'm gonna get comfortable. Get some lemon water. Oh yeah, I forgot, as I'm getting set up, some of the tools to balance the six is the following your intuition. We'll chant Om. And you think of white, nutrient dense foods, so like cauliflower, coconuts, cabbage, foods. I don't know if you relate to those or not, but you may be tuning into white, nutrient dense foods. Getting warm, getting cozy. Eye bags are really important if you have them, just to helps get the really can tune into that light of the sixth chakra by closing the outer eyes, the duality, the yin and the yang. Practice trusting our inner voice more. Let's see what other tools I can offer as we're getting ready. Oh yeah, also noticing what sensory input we're choosing to pay attention to. I do that, when I go on to social news, I really tune into how my body's taking it, and I do give myself a time limit on it. The stories you're telling about yourself. It's also, I'm giving you some extra tools that I wanted to bring in to reframe it in a more empowering light. And again, that practice of inner light gazing, or any kind of light gazing safely. And the soul, the steady, and as we tune, I'll guide us through the relaxation of the body parts, but I'm inviting you to call on any of your archetypes, any of your deities that you follow and allow, or that you may study teachings of. Let those study and teachings come through. So first, as you're lying down, let me make sure I record this. So for many of us, we're going to feel our back body getting heavy, really resting on the earth, supported. If it's appropriate, depending on your position, maybe letting the head ease from side to side. And I know classic meditation is taught most often in an upright position, but you may want to kind of bring, if you're in a position to just soften and massage around your forehead and around your eyes, and giving that little finger expansion very lightly across the eyelids. So we're expanding this duality, a wider gaze. Not so stuck in our gaze, and this is a gentle tap at the spiritual eye. Gentle tap with the fingertips.
And then with the eyes still closed, you're extending that arm out in front of you and you're drawing that extension. Just know that light is there. You can visualize it, imagine it, or perhaps even see it. Maybe it's a glimmer. Just what colors you see there. Or if you're visualizing the white star with the blue magnetic field around it and the gold circumference holding it all, but expanding into infinity at the same time. You can feel your next inhale, the cool air coming in through the nostrils and that light, that coolness at the spiritual eye. And the warm cooked air coming out of the nostrils. Know that light within you is shining, and it shows where freedom lies. Hearing the sense of sound, the oceanic sound. Letting the shoulders soften. Radiant sensation streamlining down both arms. Pulsation in the palms of the hands. Digits of the fingers and thumbs. Breathing into the heart, really spending some time here. Let the ribs ventilate. Allowing that light to permeate all the internal organs. Belly, low back. Spaciousness there and light. And the cheeks and the thighs and the knees, left and right. I don't have to go anywhere or do anything now. Calves, ankles, soles of the feet, digits of the toes. Softening, any gripping. And feel the space within you and all around you, above you, left and right, underneath you. And you're resting with a gentle return, that gentle awareness at the spiritual eye. I'm just going to read a couple sentences from Yogananda's book, Whispers from Eternity. And these are prayer demands. And this one is 157. Keep my spiritual eye open forever. O spiritual eye, once opened, always remain open before me, that I may avoid the pitfalls in the path of life and take the highway which leads to thy palace of peace. Show me the solution to all of my problems. And just noticing if you'd like to return to movement or stay in restoration. The choice is yours. If you are choosing movement, you could do so gradually, resting on your side when it feels appropriate. The sound, no surprise, of the sixth chakra is the Om sound, the 3-syllable, the Ah, the Oo, the sound. And we could do that whatever position we're in. We could send that out to others. If you are in a position to rub the hands together, again, that generates more heat, more energy, or whatever practice speaks to you. Visualizing those we'd like to send healing energy to, be the country, the world, the planet, the whole system here. Inhaling. And bringing the hands in Namaste, acknowledging that divinity, that light within, recognizing that light of consciousness within everyone and everything. That's where we are one. Namaste, everyone. Just keep continuing to follow the light, return to the light as I